How special is it to be building the next generation of wrestlers alongside with your father?
It's very good, man. Definitely a surreal experience,
Yeah.
and like I said, at first it was kind of like, hey, I didn't want to do this, but I think now it's only getting better. Right here, it really is. We just really feed off of each other, right? So, I give it a run now, right? Practice. He's unloading these guys with infinite amounts of attacks, right? Hey, score this one, this and that, and then you got a guy like me coming in there now laying down the scenarios, right? Hey, if you clear this and you get to the legs, you get like other positioning strategies, tactic that I'm kind of implementing all of my wrestling IQ. I'm just dumping it on them. Plus, you have my dad, who's pretty much a damn technician, he knows how to score infinite amount of ways. So he's unloading them with that. And then you got me spilling a lots of wrestling IQ in them. I really think these next generation guys coming from our club will be really good, man. It's only going to take time, but we're going to get it done.
Yeah, for
Between me and
sure.
him,
Run
we'll
it,
get
baby. Ricky Cheese, baby.
Hey guys, it's your boy Ricky Cheese here with the Florida Restroom official podcast, Grinding for Greatness. Got a real special guest. I got 4-time state champion Bretli Reyna from the South Dade High School. He went on to wrestle at University of Iowa for a little bit, and now he's back coaching with his dad at his alma mater. We're going to get into all that in just a second, but we got to pay the bills. So let me thank our sponsors. Gator Roofing Systems and Construction, owner Jeff Messner. His son Rudy Messner wrestled at Lake Gibson. If you need any kind of roofing, including solar panels, get with Jeff Messner. You can hit him up right on Facebook. I also want to thank the law offices of Kleiman and Lessman, personal injury attorneys in South Florida, but they can do work anywhere in the country as they're licensed in many different states. Get with Nick DeSola. His son was a state runner-up, Andrew DeSola, for American Heritage. And his other son, Nick, was a state placer for American Heritage. So we're keeping it in the family with Wrestling Families as sponsors. Get with Nick DeSola. He's the Director of Client Relations for Kleiman and Lessman. You can hit him up on Facebook as well. They're both on the Florida Wrestling Facebook page. All right, so now the bills are paid. Let's get right to it with my man, Bretli. First of all, thank you for coming on the show. I know you're busy coaching. You got other stuff going on, so thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you, Ricky. Thank you for having me, man. It's honestly a blessing to be able
Absolutely.
to jump on something like this with you.
Absolutely, for sure. We're going to have a lot of fun. So let's just jump right into it. I want to ask you, what was it like growing up with your dad as your wrestling coach and your father? What was that like?
So honestly, it wasn't always a favorite turn, I mean, yes, I've accomplished, I think, pretty much a good amount of things, right? But it was a lot of good and bad, right? So I'd start with the good. I'd start with bad first, right? So the bad parts of it were definitely, I'd say, we didn't understand how to separate father and coach, right? And same as me too. I can separate wrestler and coach. So my mom being the outside,
The referee.
she would kind of put up with it, and mediate it, But the bottom line was, whether I was in the wrong, it was because I didn't understand how to separate the difference between wrestler and coach. An example would be, we would be, and my birthday is around December 12th, so it's around Christmas time, knockout, all of that. What's around that time, you're Hispanic, you're like Noche Buena. So remember around that time, I'd try to go get food and I already see a sideline. You get what I'm saying? I get that. So it's like, then I get upset. And it was just little things like that, That's just one example, but there's other examples, So I'd say that was the difficult part about it. But the good thing about it on that side was he knew what button to push. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like he knew how to talk to me. He knew what needed to be said, right? So one example that comes to mind was my freshman year in States. I was very nervous, right? I was wrestling against Ryan Rowland, a great guy, and I was nervous, to be honest. I really was nervous. And he noticed something was out of sync and he went up to me and like, hey, this is off, let's get back, let's channel me back into the right mindset. And one thing he did tell me was, hey, no matter what happens, I always love, right? And hearing that come from him was just a big relief. So imagine my whole life, he just knew when to say it,
Right.
in perfect times, So, that's what I say was the beauty about it, but there was a lot of ups and downs, It just,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
be honest,
sure.
but the common denominator was that, separating wrestler and coach, but then it also was, he was so good at knowing everything I needed,
Right. Right.
So it
Absolutely.
was, it was good for sure.
At what age did you realize wrestling was going to be a major part of your life? Did you know that like right away when you were a little kid at 4 or 5 years old, or did it take a little bit of time for you to mature to really understand that this is my shit? Wrestling is my shit.
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I mean, I don't really remember much. I just remember it was more of being proud of my friends, like Ozzy, Pat, the guys, Justin, JR, all those guys when we were down, right? So I was obviously the young kid there. So I think when I was growing up, it was more just hang around with them and just, hey, I so happen to be good at this sport that they're good at too,
Yeah.
right? I'd say the real switch flip was, hey, we're doubling down on wrestling probably around 8th grade because I was still playing soccer in middle school from like
Oh,
6th, 7th, 8th. Well, maybe not even a little bit younger, but I was a dual athlete for it, right? And it was good. As a wrestler, you want to have other things that take up your time and
yeah.
attention, right? So it was a good balance. But then when it came to 8th grade, it was like, hey, like we had a real talk and like, hey, like it's gonna be wrestling. But if you want to be honest, I picked soccer, but wrestling was just, that I was better at wrestling. It just what it is. But if I was good at soccer, I probably would have picked it. But yeah, man, it was around 8th grade. I made that switch, and then I'd say around 8th, 9th grade, I was still a little up and down, and I think I hit that switch again. My mindset really shifted was after Fargo, after losing, and I got like 2-2. I think I already do too good. I mean, yeah, All American grapple, but freestyle is holds more credibility. I think after that tournament, I kind of really started taking accountability as a wrestler, right? Down on everything, right? Like he tells us 225, hey, no, I need 26. Like, why not? And like I did that. And then that's what ended up leading into a successful Michigan grappler run, successful Super 32 run, and then so on and so forth. It just all compounded, right? So I made the switch twice, I guess. 8th grade was like, hey, we're doubling down on the sport. And then around my junior year, going into senior year, I kind of really hit that switch of like, I'm going all in on this. So,
Was there ever a time that you just wanted to quit and just give it all up? Was there ever a time that came into
uh,
your mind that you were like, man, I'm just done with this?
absolutely, man. And it just like you just gave me like goosebumps, because how true it is. I think a lot of wrestlers don't really talk about it, but they're out there listening. It is okay to feel those type of things. I mean, at least from my perspective, right? I mean, there was many times like I needed someone to vent to. Like I could. It was obviously my mom, but. And sometimes it'd be Ozzy, he's someone I look up to, or someone like that, and just like to hear like, hey, it's okay, you don't need to quit, you're just having a bad day right now,
Right.
and it's just a bad day, and if it goes on to another day to a bad day, the next day don't make it into a bad week, and like they were just my mom is very good at being very optimistic about those types of things, never letting me quit, and I'm very thankful for that. Again, like it was hard for me to go to my dad about those type of things. I didn't really have that relationship, and I also was just young. I didn't want to let him down and let him see that
Right.
I was vulnerable. But my mom was able to help with that a lot. So I'd say plenty of times, even when I was in college too, man. I think it's just part of the sport.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm pretty sure Bryce went through those same things too.
100%.
And I think it's just part of the sport. But I think always having that positive thing, like, hey, look, it's just a bad day. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be, or it's a bad practice. Hey, it turned into 2 bad practice. It's not turning into a bad week. So let's find something good, something that you're doing good. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you're not, I don't know, not taking accountability in this. The truth would slowly come out there. And I think once you have those talks after that, like, hey, I want to quit, and you get everything out on the table and finally like address it and look at it like, hey, it's not really that much, or it's really not that bad. I just need to do this more, do this. And I think those conversations are definitely needed to have, with someone you truly care about and someone who's going to give you that insight to keep pushing forward.
Exactly. And you're right with Bryce. He did have those moments. His big moment of wanting to quit uh, came after his senior year. He had signed with Michigan State. He committed, and about 2 months before he was supposed to be at the school, he came up to me. He said, "Hey, Pop," he goes,
Yeah.
"How upset would you be if I told you I didn't want to wrestle no more?" And my heart dropped. I'm like, "Holy shit." I said, "Kid, man, this is what we've been going for since you're 5 years old. This is like, you're there. This is it. What's going on?" And he told me, he said, "I just don't have it in my heart anymore especially in the Big Ten Conference, because Michigan State, as you know, is in the Big
Yeah,
Ten, the toughest division in the
yeah, of
NCAA.
course.
Not even close. By far, they're the toughest. He's like, and if the love's not there, I can't see myself going there and giving everything I got for another 4 to 5 years. And I had to listen to that. I had to respect that because it was an honest answer. It was an adult decision. And that's the decision he made. So he decommitted. I made him, talk to the coach and tell him what's up. And everyone respected it. And he's doing great now. He's a firefighter, EMT paramedic. He's working on a pension. So everything worked out great. So I guess wrestling is not the end all be all. It doesn't define who you are. You define who you are. So,
Dude, and I totally agree with that, Ricky. And I think a lot of people have this misconception, like, hey, I was a good wrestler. That's what I got to be defined as, a good wrestler, And it's
right.
like, yeah, being a paramedic, being a firefighter, something like that's an honorable job, but you're still being a contributing person to society. So
Of
it's
course.
like, you might meet someone that has wrestling background, and then you go and reminisce about those things, So
Yep.
I think now transitioning now, yes, I'm still really with wrestling, but it's like there's still things that I like to do outside of wrestling, And I started to understand and gain that perspective that it's like wrestling really isn't the only thing you have,
Right.
There's other things out there,
Yep.
But wrestling is probably one of the biggest things for me right now. But yeah, I think a lot of people have that. And another thing too, I think about what Bryce said to you, I think that's 100% truthful, man. And I've noticed it now as a coach too. It's like they don't have the love for it. You're wasting both people's time.
That's
Like
right.
the kid who doesn't have the love for it, how are you going to get 100%? I mean, to be a good wrestler, you have to give your best every single day. So if we can't get the best out of this kid, no amount of coaching, no amount of system, no amount of anything is going to get the love out of it. It's
Right.
hard to gain the love. It's hard to gain that. So it's good that when kids or someone like that would be honest, that,
Yep.
hey, like this doesn't for me and I don't have the love for it. I totally respect that, like you too, So now it's just like a weight lifted off. Like, okay, we understand each other now,
Right. And I did respect it. And I thanked him. I said, that was a very mature decision. I accept your answer. And, go do what you want to do. Go. He said, listen, I want to go to college and enjoy the college experience. I want to be a normal kid again.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a robot. I don't want to be, have to live up to all these expectations. If I go up there and I wrestle, I'm not going to give it 100% because it's not in my heart no more. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I was an NCAA NHSCA All-American, and
Yeah.
I won a state title. I was a 4-time state placer. I did what I set out to do.
Yeah.
So I'm done. I had to respect that. So it's an
Yeah.
honorable move on his part. And I think the coach appreciated it too, because who wants a kid? He would have wound up coming home. He would have hated it and he would have wound
Yeah.
up coming home. So he
Yeah.
made the right decision. Anyhow, when you were growing up at Downright, I remember when it was Downright and then it turned to Gladiator, who were your idols that you were looking up to back then when you were a little guy?
Oof.
I already know the answer,
And
I think, but I want to hear it.
I definitely want to say like Pat Nazi,
Of
those
course.
are the two main guys. Honestly, now a little bit older now, that were the older kids I remember from Dynamite. I really used to like watching Kendrick Russell, Earl Russell, Tico Vaya. Those were probably my top three watching. Rat too,
Yeah.
those were like the older Dynamite guys, that I looked up to. But I also had great relationships with pretty much other guys who didn't really maybe accomplish as much in wrestling, but they were just good people too, with David and Jacob and Darren and Garrett, those types of guys,
Yeah.
So I think pretty much everybody was pretty much like my idol. Got along with all of them and I looked up to all of them and I still have a great relationship with all
Do
of
you
them,
remember the
So
days when you were like 4 or 5 years old in that wrestling room with all those great champions and you were just a little
yeah,
kid
man,
running
it was
around, dicking
in the
around?
old South Dade room, the old
Yeah.
South Dade room. I remember that one. That was a good, man. We had a really good team,
Oh my God. Year
And then
after
a
year
lot of them
after
would
year.
go to like that Pop Warner league at Harrisfield here. So we had like a football and a wrestling team.
That's awesome. All right. So now let's jump into your actual career. 4-time state champ. Unbelievable. I think you're the third person from South Dade to become a 4-timer. It was Earl
Yeah,
Hall, then Brevin, and then you?
yeah.
Okay. And there's only 3 of them, right?
No, I believe we have Sawyer now.
Oh,
Sawyer is the
Sawyer. That's
fourth.
right. Bartell.
Sawyer, and then yeah, that's about it. Just
So the
us.
4 of you.
Yeah, 4 of us.
That's a pretty nice club to be in, the 4-time
Oh,
club.
100%,
When
man.
you're a 4-timer at South Dade, holy shit, man. It's just something that most kids could only dream about, and it's never going to happen for them, but especially at a program like South Dade. Did you have one state title that meant a little bit more to you than any of the other three?
Probably my first one, man. I think that just experiencing it for the first time is not really something you can replicate it.
Yeah.
I think feeling it for the first time, and like I said, having that weight lifted off my shoulders, hearing that when you said that to me, I think everything about that moment was just pure, it just made sense. I was at my best. I was doing everything I needed to do, to get my hand raised,
Yeah.
So I'd say probably my first one, you
Okay.
know.
And who did you beat in that match?
Ryan Road,
And where was he from?
Haggerty.
Oh yeah, Haggerty. Tough program.
Yeah, it was a great kid, a great coaching staff too, and team, man. They had
Absolutely.
some really good duels this year. Had state duels.
Oh
I
yeah.
was kind of nervous a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Haggerty's
man,
tough,
they
man.
they had a good squad.
Was there any one particular match during your high school career that changed you as a wrestler? Like one match that changed you?
Uh yeah, I'd probably say that one at Fargo, and I lost like a kid named Javion Jones. He was from Ohio. He ended up going D1. I think he went to Little Rock, I believe.
Yeah.
Good wrestler, but guy I should have beaten, and I'd say that match, it like really just kind of dove in down on me, man. And I was just like it just everything about that match kind of changed my perspective. And like, hey, what I'm doing isn't working. I need to just dial it down and listen to what my dad's saying.
Yeah.
Like he wants the best for me, and like let's just go his way. Like his way, everything he does, and just a little bit more. And like I said, he said do 25, I was doing 26, 27. I mean, I wasn't doing 30, 40, but I was doing one or two more, and like it built that mental stability in me to every time I was doing it, it became a habit. You'd say 20, I was going to do 22, 23.
Yeah.
Like I just needed to do one or two more. It wouldn't be one. Sometimes it'd be two. Sometimes it would be one. One, two, or three, something like that. And I think that match was what led towards that really big mental switch and then led to a good senior season.
Yeah. Who was if you had to pick one, who was your toughest opponent in high school, but from Florida, not from Super 32 or anything like that? What Florida kid was your toughest kid in your 4 years? Who would you say?
Oh, and I'd say there was a couple. There was a couple. I'd say Joe Gonzalez gave me an ultimate tiebreaker. My teammate Charlie Huffman. He gave me very tough matches. All those guys are wrestled. But I'd say the one that stood out the most that I can say like I was like, okay, this guy's like, if I'm not decrediting the other guys, but like I just had to be ready for this one. You get what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
guy's he doesn't give a shit about me. But it was a kid named Alex Gordinez. I don't know if you remember him.
From where?
From HML,
Yeah,
Idea Miami
the name
Lakes.
sounds very familiar.
Yeah, they used to call him, I think his dad called him the game dog. But regardless of what it is, dude, I think it was just like the fact that he didn't give a shit about me. He was strong. He was a good sized 120 pounder. I still had a little bit of baby fat, long and lanky, but he was a good sized senior 120 pounder. And dude, that guy would move. And he was just nonstop moving. And it was
Yeah.
just his style, his effort, his grit, everything like you would kind of want in a wrestler going against a high caliber kid. That's what you want. And he was giving me every single time, And on top of that, he would get really, really sweaty. We'd go to tough matches, and it was like this guy was dripping, bro. And it was like I honestly sometimes like I back a little bit, kind of like, holy shit, But other than that, I'd say he was definitely the toughest. Thankfully, I always came out on top, but he definitely did probably give me my toughest matches, I'd say, throughout my whole career,
Okay.
We wrestled multiple times, like 3, 4 times. I think every time it was pretty close.
You beat him every time?
Yeah, I beat him every time. I beat him once at some corporal tournament. That's where he really opened up my eyes. And I think I wrestled him the second time at Seahorse. It was a close match. And then we wrestled the third time at GMAC, so 3 times. And then
Okay.
good thing about that, though, man, that I would say, we had a lot of tough matches. Guess where he was at? That GMAC's finished. We're no longer opponents. Guess where he was at training for district? At our club, Gladiator, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get better. And I think that's what makes wrestlers really good. I think a lot of people think like, oh, that's my competition. Like, wow, bro. Like you still have to figure out
Right.
how to score. How do you know he's gonna make it to you in the finals? How do you know he's gonna make it in the summer? How do you know that? And
Exactly.
I think that was a good thing about him and his family that like we really respected about that. You know, like literally right after gym SCs were done, we got our hands raised, podium, whatever. He's like, hey man, like I want to start come training you guys. Like, shit, man, we got practice tomorrow.
Let's go.
Saturday, we got practice tomorrow. You want to come? You showed up, and I think that's what made him a really good wrestler. You know, he was willing to show up.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's
I'd
awesome.
say,
So, what sacrifices did you make that most people never saw?
Probably that I haven't celebrated my birthday like the actual day since I was like in fifth grade, sixth grade. Like December 12th, I've never been able to like actually sing happy birthday with my family.
That's a
Or
huge sacrifice, bro.
it is, man. And I think a lot of people think that like it's not, but it is. You know, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot in wrestling. You know, but the good thing about it is when I finish my tournament on that Saturday, that Sunday we'd always have a party,
Yeah.
which ends up would be around December 17th, 18th, which is my sister's birthday. So it always makes
Yeah.
up for it. So
So, last question about your high school. Who kept you the most grounded, mom or dad? Your success, who kept you most grounded, your mom or your dad?
oh no, that's my mom for sure. my my dad, you know, was very good at like hey man, like you're good, you know, like we had a good relationship. But my mom, and she would tear you up any little piece of like dopamine or feeling you fit or feeling good, oh, she'll shut it down real quick.
Yeah.
You
She'd
know,
let you know
and
you're
said
okay,
it,
but you
said
ain't
it.
all that.
Yeah, no, not even that. She'd say, yeah, the favorite one. It's so funny. She'd say, like it's just funny because you got to actually get to know her, like how much shit she talks. Like, and it's like, come on, and she goes, "You ain't shit. You won't ever be shit, and you still ain't shit." And I'm like, what?
I love it. I
Like, all
love
right,
it, man.
like, but
So,
yeah, I'd say her for sure.
all right, let's jump back into after graduation. Obviously, four-time state champ, probably could have went anywhere you wanted. How'd the recruiting process go, and what made you choose University of Iowa? I'm sure Pat had a big part of it, but he couldn't have been the only reason. So,
Yeah.
how'd the recruiting process go?
So I'd say the big thing that came to my mind was the mindset, right? So like I said, I made that switch around my senior year. Around that time, I was going on visits, right? So the big difference again, I only went on 2 visits. I wish I would have gone on more, but I went on two, one in Lehigh and one in Iowa. The mindset I think attracted me towards Iowa was just how relaxed they were, you know, and we were able to get along on certain things, you know, like I wasn't really that much of an outgoing party person, you know. When we went, we were playing cards, we were hanging out, playing beach volleyball. That was like a big thing we did, you know, playing cornhole, stuff like that, you know. But on the mindset side of the thing, it was always like I want to be a national champion. You get what I'm saying? And then it was like guys like I know, like hey, like I don't even know you. But you're on the Iowa roster and your mindset's thinking national champion. Everybody in here is thinking national
Yeah.
champion. Where in my mindset, that's what I wanted to be, you know, a national champion, the way I was going with it, you know. So it just felt a lot more attracted towards those type of guys, you know, especially with Pat being there too, you know. And I don't know if you remember the other one. The other guy was up there. You probably remember Eric Zarilla.
Yeah, of course.
He was up there at Iowa City. He's a doctor now. He's at Yale, but he was up there in his he called it like his doctorate program. So it was us three.
Wow. That's funny
So
you mentioned Eric Zarilla. I haven't heard that name in years. The last time I saw
man,
him, he wrestled Bryce at 106. Bryce was a freshman, Eric was a senior, and they wrestled in the semis at state. And Eric tore him up because Bryce was a little
I
kid.
said right after he had to go to Aussie. That's crazy, right? Like
Yeah, it was
a
tough,
lot of
man.
good wrestlers. Too.
Yep, it was tough. But wow, Zarilla's going to be a doctor or is a doctor. That's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
man, he's a good dude, man.
Was there a moment in college when you realized how tough D1 really is?
Yeah, for sure. But plenty of moments. I'd say there are plenty of moments that particularly point out, but I'd say it's just it's not really how do I explain it? Like I just think like you have to really just love the sport, you know. Like I think that's just the bottom line with it, and I think at that point of time being up there and just a lot of extra stuff, you know. I didn't have the love for the sport there, you know. But if you do have a love for the sport, I'd say that D1 college is for you. Like, and I mean, truly love it, can truly make the sacrifices, can truly just continuously do the right thing over and over and over, and not on an scale that you wanted to be on a higher scale, you know. And I
Right.
think if you can check off all those boxes, I'd say that'd be it for you. But if you just can't, then yeah, it's gonna be a damn, it'll be
What
in the
do
dump. But
what do fans not understand about the grind of being a Division One wrestler? What do most fans not even realize?
you said fans?
Yeah, what do fans not realize about the grind of a Division One wrestler?
I'd say the uh like I'd say like the grit part of it, it's just tough. Like I don't know how else to
It's a
explain it. It's like
grind, right?
you're in a room or going against someone else who's just as good as you. You know, their
Yeah.
strength, they point out your weaknesses, you know, and not only on a little bit, they do it on a constant daily basis, 24/7, you know. So I think it's just constantly a grind physically and mentally, you know, because I got to work on it physically, you know, defend the shots or stop the hand fight and certain stuff like that. But it's also messing me up mentally, you know, because I'm
Right.
getting my ass beat over and over and
Right.
over. So, you know, and that's what I'm saying. It dials down to that part of, do you truly love it? Are you going to be able to put up with that over and over and over and move forward from it, you know?
Who were some teammates or coaches who had a major impact on you?
Is that right?
Iowa or South Dade?
A coach that's had a major impact on me, I'd probably say, I like Sal Basil. Sal Basil and Coach Mason, those are two guys I always felt comfortable with, you know, guys that I can talk to, you know. Coach Adlin was a good one too. I'm thinking about my time here in Florida,
Right,
right?
right.
Coach Maldonado. But I'd say around my time when I was competing in high school, I'd say definitely Coach Sal Basil and Coach Mason, you know. I mean, I was traveling on these national teams with them too, you know, so, but, I think they also, I think what reason our relationship was good too was because they would point me out on my bullshit too. You know, they weren't afraid that like, hey, just because you're accomplished what you accomplished at this certain point, I'm still gonna point out on your certain things, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they did, you know. So I'm glad that I'd say those two guys would probably have a big impact on me, you know.
What
Just like
made
giving
you
me a good reality check, you know.
Yeah,
So
for sure, reality check. Absolutely. What made you decide to come back home and coach?
honestly, man, I'd say at first I didn't want to, man. I'd say the job opportunity that opened up, man, it just kind of like I was like, you know, I'm just gonna be a cop. That was my initial, right, you know. Uh, it was just up in the air, you know, do I be a cop? Do I what am I gonna do, you know? And then South Day they reached out to me and my dad, like, hey, like, you know, Coach Bouncy is stepping down, you know, and we're looking kind of rebuild, you know, and here's what we can offer, you know, and we offered a coaching job and a teacher position, but you need to do this, and this, you know, and I was like, you know what? And like, I think after having that talk, like, it was just like, you know what? Maybe this coaching thing is what I really need to be doing. Maybe it allows me to be a lot more of a gladiator now, you know, coach. Because before I didn't want to coach. I told my dad that before, like, hey, like I don't, like I plan to be a cop and I'll help out here and there, but that's what I want to do. But that now being in there is all I want to do, you know,
Yeah.
helping these kids is all I want to do. So I'm glad it worked out, like you said. It all works itself out, you know. So say
Yeah.
that opportunity is what attracted me more towards being a coach now, you know.
Did you always know you wanted to be a coach or that came a little bit later?
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't think I never wanted to. I'd always tell like people I wouldn't want to coach my kids. Like I would just like probably send them out to like a coach. Like I know, hey, this guy's good or whatever it is. You know, even if it's in my club or anybody's club, right? I'd probably just send them off. But yeah, I never really thought about it until after getting that opportunity and then going in with these kids. And I'd say what really pulled me in was we had this elite class going in now at our club and like 10, a lot of them are like, I'd say our youngest one's 7, our oldest one's about 13, 14. Dude, I think just seeing those little kids like, holy shit, like these kids are grinding, these kids are good. And I think actually made me like really fall in love a little bit more. So now, like, that's my favorite class to go to. I tell my dad every time, hey, this is my favorite one to go to. This Tuesday every time. So,
Yeah.
say, as I was in the process of applying for the job, I was also doing those practices, and it just snowballed into it. And I really like doing this, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. What's it like standing beside your father as an assistant coach as opposed to when you were just an athlete for him?
I'd say it's a bit different. He jumps on me a lot more, man. He says, I need to chill. I need to sit down. I need to relax, Yeah. But no, it's a little bit, pretty much the same, man. I'd say that, like I said, he does a really good job at that, like allowing us young coaches, me and Ozzy, to like speak our word. You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, I don't think this is right, right? So I give you an example, and it paid off. Me and Ozzy were opposed to Jonathan Moreno going 65 and Tyree 75. My dad wanted that, right? And we've had multiple conversations. Me and Ozzy would explain our side. Look, man, you're not looking at this, and that. Look at this, and that. Like, and we were giving him, like, spitting out, I guess, data to him, like, letting him know, like, hey, look. And finally, like, just him being able to, like, you know what, man, you guys are right. Like let's maybe make this switch. Let's do this, And that's one of the big things. But just being able to still have that good, positive relationship with him, I think it's pretty much the same. I'm still able to speak to him and be honest. And there may be some things like he's like, hey, man, like, that's a great idea, but you're not looking out for this, and this, or this, and this. Like, so he's humble enough to let me know, like, hey, that's not going to work out. But he's also had that humility in him, like, hey, man, you actually are right. Like, let's go that route,
Okay.
let's do this. So I'd say, and then not only with me and Ozzy, like that with Coach Strongshire too, So I'd say that relationship works out very well.
Have you gained a new appreciation for everything your dad did for you now that you're a coach with him?
Oh,
And
100%, man,
yeah,
100%. I'd say there's a lot of sacrifices we parents do and coaches, and like not me being a coaches thing, I mean, it's just I just do it. I don't care about the money, but I love it. But I'm saying on the parent side of it, man, like seeing the constant fees that add up, the constant tournaments going weekly in and out. I mean, I'm by myself, I just pack a bag and I'm ready to go. You have kids, all that. And I'm just like, damn, man, like you really did this for over 18, not 18, 15 years, Damn, man. And I like, I keep shot at anyone, but damn, man, taking your kid 4 hours after he goes 0 and 2. Like, I went 0 and 2 all the way in Ivory,
right.
how bad that trip back home was,
Yeah,
And it's like, it makes you just appreciate a lot more. Like, these people do a lot of stuff for me, your
yep,
parents and mine, So it's definitely a good eye opener now, noticing like a lot of things. Like,
yeah, for
damn, man.
sure. How would you describe your coaching style?
I'd say I'm a little bit laid back, but very honest, like I'd give you my input, right? So if you were to give me somebody and say, hey man, this is who he is, I would slowly fill him out, fill him out. Okay, maybe this kid's good at getting this way, right? Like, and I'm using him against me. You get what I'm saying? So I guess that coaching style is a little bit like we feed off of each other. So, okay, I'm seeing what you're good at and what you're bad at, right? Okay, look, hey, cancel this out. Don't do this no more. Let's keep focusing on this, let's keep perfecting this, and I keep, I guess, learning with the wrestler, I guess. So we're just, I don't know how to describe it, that's just kind of my mindset of
Yeah,
coaching, just we both are learning together, so I guess a student, coach, I
yeah,
don't know, but something like that, and it's like, I think that's a great way of coaching, it works out, it really does, that I've noticed our kids getting better every day, and I think
mhm,
that's when you start to dial in as a coach to focus on getting better and getting them to be the best version of themselves, that's where it really works. How do you do that? Keep telling them they're good at these certain things. Keep teaching, hey, this single leg work, high quash doesn't work for you, man. It just doesn't. As bad as you want, it just doesn't work. Let's stick to the single leg. Let's stick to works. And I'd say that's pretty much how I approach all of our guys.
yeah. What are the most important values that you try to teach your wrestlers?
I would say just do the right thing. That was one of the biggest things like we had this year. And one thing we always preach in like our WhatsApp group chats, right, or in our circle with our wrestlers was, hey man, just do the right things. Like we understand everybody does what they do, right, but just do the right things. You don't have to be involved with so and so doing that.
Right.
Do the right things. I'd say that's really what it is. And that philosophy applies on the mat and off the mat. Like we catch our kids slipping. Like hey man, like come on man, and the next thing they go back. I mean, it's inevitable as a coach. You can't really uh, dial down on everything. Hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You're only gonna keep running in circles. I'd say that'd be the best thing. Just give them the trust and let them know, like, hey, man, you just need to do the right thing. That's really what it is. You know it right from wrong. Just keep doing the right, you know?
So, as a coach, it's easy. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but it's easier to coach a great kid. A kid that already works hard, that already has that mental edge, that is going to be a state champ. Everyone knows they're going to be a state champ or already was a state champ. How do you motivate the athletes who aren't natural state title contenders? Maybe the JV kids or the kid that just can't break the lineup, but he will one day. He will. How do you motivate that kid?
Yeah. I'd say I haven't really gotten that situation yet, that
Okay.
situation particularly, but thinking about it and some of our kids who may be like mismatched with someone, I'd say I did was definitely boost their confidence, right? That'd be the main thing, because if someone can actually believe like, hey, I'm gonna win this, or hey, I'm gonna get this done, and if you can just keep getting them to think those things over and over and over, I think that's how it works, right? So if I have a kid going against I don't know, one-time state champion, this kid is state qualifier, we're gonna figure out, hey man, look at this guy's flaws. Look at what he's doing wrong, right? Okay, now let's look at how we can add in our technique to beat this guy, right? And we'll just pick off from there, and I think there's a lot of things that go into it, but I say the main common ground thing you need to do is get this kid on board with you,
Yeah.
Even if you have to be a little delusional, it's
Right.
sometimes a little delusional with some of our kids, but hey, it worked, right?
Right.
It worked, right? Like I'd say one of them I was really delusional with was Jonathan Moreno. I was texting him state champ all the way in December. He was out. Right? But hey, it worked because guess what that kid did? I built this confidence. And then that's what that state champ text became his wallpaper. What was he seeing every time? Every time he wakes up? His phone, his wallpaper, right? Now he's like, okay, I can do 75. I can wrestle this. The weight doesn't matter. And he went out there and did a job. So I'd say that
Yeah.
worked in our way. So I'm gonna keep doing that.
That's a great answer,
But
man. Great answer.
but I'd say that, man, that's how else are you going to beat him if you don't believe it? You got to get your kid on board with it. You get him to believe you can beat that kid. And I think that's how you do it.
What does success look like to you now as a coach?
Honestly, man, a lot more than what I accomplished. These guys are setting a new standard, right? I mean, hey, we got 4-time state champs. We got 4 team members. I'd definitely say maybe the national level. Anything national is what like I'm looking more forward to. I mean, no disrespect to Florida, but you get what I'm saying. Like that's what I want to be recognized as. That's what I want our kids to be recognized as. That's what I want our club to be recognized as on a national level scheme.
Right.
Yeah, we're still dominating Florida. Yeah, we're going to continue doing that, but let's do that on a national level scene.
Right.
Let's do that on a world scene. So I'd say that success is a little bit higher than what I had, right? Because I mean, winning 4 times state champs, right? 4 state titles, sorry, Ricky. Winning 4 state titles was good, but now seeing a guy like Greedy come in, who's already accomplished 4 times state titles, but guess what? He's on a world team now. I never had the opportunity to accomplish that. Let's coach him. Let's get that going. And now the younger guy is going to see, okay, I can do that too.
Yeah.
Now I'm already experienced as a coach. Okay. And now the next guy just keeps funneling in, so that's what I'd say success means to me now for our kids and our club. I appreciate them 24/7, and then I'd say like, hey, yeah, yes, winning in here is good, but can you do it out there on a national level? That's where you really get tested. That's where it really means something. That's where you really pretty much see, have you been doing the right thing, right? Like that's just the little truth of it.
Yeah. As far as a relationship with your wrestlers, do you think you have an edge over your dad because you're much younger than your dad? You're not that much older than the kids you're coaching. Do you think that's an advantage or is that a hindrance?
100%. I think it's an advantage because I'm be honest, like I said, it goes to where we can just relate with these kids.
Right.
Me and Ozzy were very good at relating with these kids, right? We drove up there, all out of them wanting to be in our van. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they just, we related to them, but we also were able to give them that reality check that they wouldn't really, maybe not take serious from my dad, but my dad didn't want to step in 24/7. My dad's more of like a lecture dude, let you learn from your mistakes and then he's going to lecture you, whereas me and Ozzy had that advantage because we would shut it down right there. Like, hey, man, we don't do that. hey man, that's wrong. On and out from that, right? And any other thing, someone would say something slick to someone else. Hey man, that's disrespectful. Let's talk about so and so's person like that. Like, you got what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I'd say that's where the advantage probably came from. And also, as much as we can relate to them, we also related to them to where we would shut down the bad stuff right there too. And he slowly started to see like, okay, these guys are very good at doing that, and then continuously let us have our say, on this sorts of things.
That's good. That's good. If you could go back and talk to your freshman year self, what would you tell yourself?
I'd say no pressure, have fun, and definitely just do what you do. Like,
Yeah.
right? Don't change anything. Don't think because you're young you can't accomplish anything on a higher scale, right? Like, you're a freshman, you can win a state title. It doesn't mean anything. So I'd say definitely just be the best version of yourself, right? And I'd say that it's gonna work out.
What does it mean to be coaching at South Dade? Because you could coach anywhere, but what does it mean to be coaching at your alma mater where you did what you did?
That's good, man. I like it. I like being there in the environment. I'd say it's like our family. We still
Yeah.
have relationships with the previous state championship teams. They're either coming in the Gladiator, popping in here and there, or you see them at the banquet that we always have at the states. Where we're always outside in the tent. So I'd say just constantly being around that environment is what really means a lot to me. I'm very grateful for that. So I'd say that's pretty much
Yeah.
why it's out there.
South Dade's
Yeah.
always been a tight knit, like a family. I always respected that about you guys. How special is it to be building the next generation of wrestlers alongside with your father?
It's very good, man. Definitely a surreal experience.
Yeah.
And like I said, at first it was kind of like, hey, I didn't want to do this, but I think now it's only getting better. Right here, it really is. We just really feed off of each other, right? So, I give it a run now, right? Practice. He's unloading these guys with infinite amounts of attacks, right? Hey, score this one, this and that. And then you got a guy like me coming in there now laying down the scenarios, right? Hey, if you clear this and you get to the legs, you get like other positioning strategies, tactic that I'm kind of implementing all of my wrestling IQ. I'm just dumping it on them. Plus, you have my dad, who's pretty much a damn technician. He knows how to score infinite amount of ways. So he's unloading them with that. And then you got me spitting in lots of wrestling IQ in them. I really think these next generation guys coming from our club will be really good, man. It's only going to take time, but we're going to get it done.
Yeah, for
Between me and
sure.
him, we're going to get it done.
That feeder program is something else, man. That
Yeah,
Gladiator just
man.
keeps feeding South Dade, man. And I think that's
Not even
really
South
important.
Dade, man. And like, I like to address that. I mean, a lot of people think like Gladiator only feeds South Dade, Ricky, and like that's not what it is, man.
Right.
Like one guy I think I have a great relationship with, two of them, Charlie Hoff and Sebastian Ibiza. They were lifetime Gladiator kids with me.
Yeah.
Sebastian went on to be a two-time state champ and go to D1. Charlie ended up being in the state finalist, multiple time state placer, going to college.
Charlie was
He
at
went to
Columbus,
Columbus.
right?
Yeah,
Charlie
Charlie
was at
went to
Columbus?
Columbus, Sebastian went to Southwest, I went to South Dade. But guess what? Once high school practices were done, we would all meet up there. And
Yeah.
I think people really had that misconception, like, oh, Gladiator only feeds South Dade. Gladiator. No, man, we feed everybody. You want to send us your kid, we're gonna get them good. We're gonna treat them the same way, like I just described to you. We're gonna figure out how to do it. Even if you have to wrestle our kid next week. So what?
Right.
That's what makes the sport fun. That's what makes it real. When you have good matches, nobody wants to see guys going out there attacking guys. We want to see those triple overtime matches.
Yeah.
People want to see that. How do you do that? Like, putting the best wrestlers in a room and just keep spreading them out. So that's why I'd say, Gladiator only doesn't feed South Dade. It feeds multiple amounts of things. But South Dade being the primary place. But yeah, man, anybody who's looking to get better can come and get better in here, Ricky. I'll tell you that.
That's a good point. You're right. A lot of kids that come from Gladiator from all different schools. That's a
Yeah,
very good point. One day, many years from now, how do you hope your wrestlers describe you as a coach?
I'd say as a person who helped them a lot in life, I'd say that, definitely someone who they can come to, someone they can just, if they just need, I don't know, I'd say, just a good person, I'd
Yeah.
say a person that they have a strong relationship with,
Hmm.
that they can call whenever they want, that they can text whenever they want, and I'll do my best to help them out. I'd say that that's the type of person I would hope you could describe me when my time comes to retire.
Perfect. Perfect.
Definitely say that.
All right. So my last question, it's a closing question, and it's going to be a tough one. You might have to put some thought into this. You were very fortunate enough to win 4 state titles, wrestle Division 1, and now coach alongside of your father at the same school where it all started for you. When you look back on your wrestling journey, what legacy do you hope that you've left behind?
Definitely better than the last one, I'll tell you that. Definitely better than the last one, man. And like it's starting already now. Like I told my dad, I said, no, this year we went 6 perfect in state. I don't care how many we sent to the final. I don't care. The most we had was 6 state champ, which is shooting for South. And after 7, then we're shooting for 8, and it's only gonna be up there. So I'd say it's gonna be a lot better than the one that's previously laid out right now. And my ideal goal is only make it better. So I'd say more state champs than what we currently have, which is 6, more national champs, more world team champs, and it's only going to get better. So I'd say a way better legacy than in line right now. But all respect to it, but it's just, we got to do better. It's
Yeah.
just part of it. We better continue and make it better than what it is.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you something, man. Much respect to you, Bretli. You're a great kid. You're a great man. I love what you're doing over there now and giving back. You and Ozzy, it's awesome to watch and to see. So I'm always going to be rooting for you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If you need anything, as you know, just hit me up, brother.
Thank you, Ricky, so much again. I'm very grateful to be on here, man. And happy to see Bryce doing a good thing, man. That's good.
Absolutely. I'll tell him you said what's up.
See you, Ricky.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.